The part that might be the worst for Donald Trump and his allies of yesterday's press conference involving Jeffrey Epstein's victims is that they have their own list. I spoke about this yesterday on the bonus show with producer Pat. And what I said is FOIA requests, grand jury testimony, sealing, unsealing, whatever. The victims have the list. They can say, I was victimized by the following people. Here is a bit of yesterday's press conference about exactly that.
And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details.
In other words, this is a disaster for Donald Trump. Forget waiting for courts. Forget playing a part or standing aside as the dog and pony show of Trump directing Pam Bondi to release pertinent parts of grand jury testimony. Forget about that. Forget about FOIA requests. Forget about waiting for Trump's Justice Department to misplace the documents. You know, we thought we had some documents. We can't find them. The dog ate them. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Forget about it. The people who were there and saw the parties, they were on the flights, some of them, they saw the visitors come through. They will be putting together their own list without a government gatekeeper and with every getting around the people who have every incentive to keep the big names secret. Now think about what that means. It is not just about the official paper trail anymore. For very long, this was about who has the documents. Pam Bondi's got them on her desk. Is she going to get rid of them? And for too long, it was about attempts to distract. Tariffs this, Iran that, Trump's hands this. And I'm not saying every attempt to distract is about an illegitimate topic. I'm not saying every attempt to distract is deliberate by Trump. But what I mean is, as the Epstein files continue not to come out, the news continues and people get distracted. They're distracted by other stories and they get back to their own lives. If you're working and trying to put food in your fridge in Saginaw, Michigan, you're not necessarily breathlessly waiting for the Epstein files. But that doesn't mean that transparency about the president's potential involvement with the child sex trafficking ring isn't important. So we don't know whether the list they are compiling will be public. We don't know. By the way, I hope that none of these women end up accidentally falling out of their windows multiple times, right? You understand what I'm saying. I don't know if it will be made public or if it won't. I don't know if there will be some legal mechanism employed to attempt to suppress this. But even the threat that the list could be compiled outside of Donald Trump's control is a nightmare for anyone who thought that they could bury the story. Now, I want to say one other word about balance, and then we'll get to Donald Trump's reaction about this. I really do want to be guided by the facts. The facts right now do not include that Trump was a perpetrator in sexually assaulting underage girls as part of the Epstein ring. That may be or it may not. We do not have evidence of that at this point in time. The facts are Trump doesn't want the list out. That we know. The facts are Trump's officials, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, etc., are not releasing the list. The facts are they insist we've released 33,000 files or whatever it is, but we know that that's not new. We know that the 3% of stuff that hasn't been released is the key stuff. Now, what is actually in there? It might be Trump trying to protect his friends, maybe for his own benefit, right? Not because he cares about his friends, but because he realizes if the list comes out, my friends won't give me money or won't support me. That's one possibility. Possibility number two is that Trump is in the files, but not as a perpetrator criminally, but that's bad enough. And Trump doesn't want that coming out. or it's possible Trump is in the files as a perpetrator. I'm not ready to go to the next point of telling you what is in there because we don't know. But what we do know is Trump doesn't want the files coming out, and he and his administration are using pressure campaigns to try to prevent that. Now we go to Trump's reaction when asked about it.